guess I'm here. We're starting live a little early and sitting in my office and watching my wife drive back up right now, driving up the driveway. Anyway, hopefully I'm out there. Do y'all, I don't know if anybody's able to pick it up or haven't seen. There we go. Doug is watching. All right, I got one. How are you, sir? Good. So I got 5 people. There we go. All right, so we're starting out pretty good. And tonight's I'm kind of kicked back, relaxing in my office. Miss Tilly, congratulations, by the way. I'm telling, Mark just did such a great job. And it was awesome watching the live today, especially when he caught that giant. But I went and, I was over in Kissimmee last night, staying at a friend's house, and then just drove home this morning. And so it's, I'm tired. Let's just say I'm tired. But those guys are catching them, and they get to go back and go fishing, which is where I would like to be. But, I didn't catch them. And a lot of that is thank you, Miss Tilly. Anyway, a lot of that has to do with focus. When you to do well in a tournament, you have to focus on the task and not be preconceived this or what. And I kind of had some preconceived notions about what to do, and it getting on the schoolies, and I worked some schoolies and had a terrible first day, just losing them. And so, day 2, I did a little bit of that, and then just started scrambling, and everything just kind of fell apart. So when you zig when you should have zag and stuff like that. But let me answer a quick question here. Lindsay goes, what's your favorite snack on the boat? And I keep all kinds of Crockett Creek beef jerky, especially the spicy stuff, the jalapeno, honey jalapeno, all kinds of good stuff like that. And I also keep Cliff Bars, and those are kind of my 2 kind of go-to, just munch and go. I tell you one that I kind of like too is they make this tuna, just a quick little tear open pack of tuna that is buffalo chicken, and buffalo flavored tuna, and it's really good. So anyway, so that's kind of what I eat on the boat when I'm out there, and drink lots of water. In fact, I got me a big old Yeti of water right here, right now. One thing that happens, you get out there and you can get dehydrated pretty quick. And so, you just have to, if you're going to keep any type of mental focus, you need to fuel your body, and you need to drink a lot. So, that's what we do. So anyway, so if anybody has any question, I'll answer some questions, and we get a handful of people on here, and probably give you a little bit about my story. Especially, a lot of you probably heard that, I just got finished with cancer surgery, kidney cancer, about 6 weeks ago. Yesterday, or that's right, yeah, yesterday, 6 weeks ago. So, and I knew it out on the boat. I wasn't quite 100%, but I still, that's no excuse for not catching them, especially in my home state. Man, that's my home state. I should be catching them. So anyway, yeah, if I'm not getting any, how am I doing on my recovery? I'm doing real well. I've got, in fact, we'll pack up here. I'll be here for about a week, and then we'll go to Chickamauga for the Super Tournament and the FLW Super Tournament, and that'll be really fun. And then I get home for about another week, and or thereabouts, and then we're going to head maybe a week and a half, and we're heading to Champlain, which is amazing. So I get to have some cooler weather and great smallmouth fishing, which I'm really looking forward to. Chickamauga, big bass, smallmouth fishing in Champlain, man. And then I think we go to another FOW Super Tournament on the river up in La Crosse, and then to Detroit. So, the rest of the season is going to be a really, really fun one. And all right, I got another question here. I know we're past the spawn, but what's your favorite lure color for spawning? So, pretty much white. White, and the only reason for that is that you can see it. So I catch them on black. I catch them on like black with a chartreuse tail. I've used chartreuse. I've used all kinds of different colors, natural colors, and all that kind of stuff, and they all work. But the thing about white is when you throw it out there, you can see that bait very well. When a fish eats it, it disappears. So you can see that, oh, he's just got it by the claw. Like I can see most of the bait out of his mouth and part of it gone. So you know that he doesn't really have the hook in his mouth. And in our tournaments, you got to catch them in the mouth, so you got to make sure they eat it. And so anyway, that's kind of why I like white. But trust me, any color works. I can tell you that I've seen some situations where, and we had a lot of times when we would fish with other pros, right? And they would be fishing side by side, so they'd be thrown on the same bed. And all of a sudden you see that fish turn and react to their bait, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's that color. So sometimes color makes a big difference. So I usually have a whole bunch of baits and colors differences out on the boat, and so that I can throw, a worm on it. I can throw a big worm. I can throw a lizard. I can throw, a rage bug, which is probably my favorite of all, and little things like that. There's my man Terry Chuck. Anyway, guy that led me to Jesus right there, and so. You just have to have a variety, and sometimes they want something different, a different color or a different bait. So and I use all of those. Doug just saying craws, Senkos, whatever. Well, I use the Ocho, I use craws, I use lizards, big worms. Big worms can get them. A lot of times a big bait can really fire up a big female and get her to tee off and eat when you try all kinds of other things and they just doesn't work. And so anyway, that's kind of a rundown on some of my stuff. I think Lindsay also asked, says, does my family get to travel with you a lot? No. Now, when I was younger, they were younger. I didn't have kids, or when my kids were below 5, they traveled all the time. Went to every tournament, but once I got kids and they got to school age, then that changed, because then they're in school, and my wife was there with them in school. And then, now I've got grandkids. And so when my wife travels, it's usually a summertime, and it's like her and my grandson will come, and they'll go to a tournament. So they may go to the one in Champlain, because maybe we can just go smallmouth fishing afterwards. I know my grandson Bryce would absolutely love to catch, some big smallmouth. And we were supposed to have a tournament. The Bass Pro Tour, Major League Fishing Bass Pro Tour, was supposed to have a tournament on, Thousand Islands at the St. Lawrence River in June this month, and it would have just been stellar. And of course, this COVID kind of wiped all that out. So, needless to say, that was going to be my grandson's treat for the year, is off school and go to New York. And now it's off school, and we'll go to Champlain, and it'll be pretty good too. So, it's all really good. So anyway, as the kind of questions are not rolling real fast, I'll just go into my story a little bit, especially with this, cancer deal. So, Terry, who's on here, and he made me cry the other day. Terry, you did that. He's got a great story. If you want to go to his Facebook page, when we're done, and watch, or if you have a second phone, you want to look at it while we're here. But he related a story that he was in, I think it was a Walmart, and noticed this young man looking at fishing tackle, and so he jumped in, and anyway, it was a tremendously touching story, and just shows his heart. But that's the man that led me to Jesus Christ, and I remember the day vividly because it was over a bowl of hot sour soup in a Chinese restaurant down in Okeechobee, and actually in Clewiston, but Lake Okeechobee, and so Terry is very instrumental in who I am and where I'm at in my life. So I accepted Jesus Christ January 22nd, 1990. With Terry and I, and it's been amazing because it's the single most important aspect of my life. There's nothing greater than a relationship with Jesus Christ, and so it influences everything you do, and how you react, and how you treat, and how you do things, and so it's really, really special. I'll answer Paul's real quick. Jump off the story. Here comes Paul Cooper. Asked me, being a Bass Pro Tour pro now, are you going to miss fishing the Bassmaster Classic? No. I tell you, I've never experienced a fishing challenge that is more exciting and harder than to do what we do at the Bass Pro Tour, and the live cameras, and knowing that you have this much weight and they have this much weight and you need this to do it, and it's just the most intense. It's like a sport should be. When you're driving around a NASCAR track, you're not doing it under the secrecy of darkness. You know where that leader is, and you know what you need to do it. and it's the same thing in a basketball game. You know what the team has, what your opponent has. If you're playing golf, you know what your opponent has. And so, no, instead of having a flip of the coin, like I had one that I would have won hands down at Toho, and I think I may have finished second. I thought I came in 10th place, thought I needed a 7 or 8 pounder to win the tournament. I hooked her on a bed, and she pulled off, and I kept looking for another big one, and fishing her a little bit more, and all I needed was a 3 pounder, and I had it one hand down, and I ran over 2 or 3 of them, and so, or 4 or 5 of them out there that I just said, no, it's not going to do me any good, when it would have. So, how many times do you win a tournament by just, luck of who does what, rather than knowing what you got to do and working real hard and getting it done? So, no, I am so happy, and that we started it as anglers. We started that tour. We started the Major League Fishing and started that tour, and we offered all of that to Bass a long time ago, and they didn't take us up on it, so we did it ourselves. So anyway, enough said about that. Let me get back to about me, and and then I'll try to come back and answer a bunch of questions. So anyway, I accepted Jesus Christ, and it's just amazing what happened in my life, meaning the things that would come along. My dad got cancer, and Jesus led me through that. And I mean, when you say led me through it, it's amazing because, hey, I'm a cancer survivor, and I guarantee most of the people on here have been affected by cancer some way, somehow. And it's a really, really, Mr. Al, good to see you on here, buddy. Anyway, so cancer's not a nice thing. So when my dad got it, I in fact, Dad had read a book which was really cool on the power of prayer, and they had only given him like 3 months. His lung cancer is going to be really quick and all that. And we went to a focus meeting, and I remember it was Jay, and I think it was Mark Davis, and a handful of us just stayed around after the meeting and put hands on my dad and prayed with him, and he donated that book to the focus group. And what was really cool is he was around 3 years later. I mean, this is lung cancer that he was supposed to have been gone instantly, and 3 years later, he's filming a show with me, my startup season for One More Cast. But anyway, I just had one prayer, and why I said, Jesus led me through this is because I had one prayer for Dad, is that, be merciful, my dad, because it's a cancer's just bad. And so the, when he died, let me tell you how merciful he was. And he died. He was up that night. He was singing a little bit, dancing with my mom, which is his wife, and they were talking old times. They lay down, went to sleep, and he died in his sleep. That's the God we serve, and just amazing. So, getting back, that's who Jesus Christ is. He gives you the opportunity to make heaven happen right here on earth. I know we're going to be all in heaven when we go, but it takes and makes this part of our life that it makes it that much better, that we can experience a little piece of it with him. And to me, that's incredible. It is just what he does. And so I've told this at Al's at some of his meetings and stuff like that I had this deal with my heart, so I had a triple bypass, and I tell that story that I had a little old man come up to my boat and get me to do something that to do. It just ended up having so many different complicated things there that when it all came down and they found that I was blocked, 100% blocked in both sides of my main arteries, the left and right coronary, that all you could do is go, oh my gosh, they found this in a checkup. I didn't have a heart attack. I didn't have anything. And they did a triple bypass, all because of a little old man that came up to my boat. And when you look at all the things, you go, you can't say that it's a coincidence when there's so many factors that went into that. And Al's probably got that recorded, and because I've said that story, and most of my talks that then I go to a church, I tell that one, and because it's so powerful to know how God works. Sometimes he'll shake you and he'll tell you, and you feel it. Other times he's putting somebody right there with you. He's putting somebody in front of you that's going, hey, you probably ought to look at this, or you ought to do this. And you think it's, just a buddy or whatever, and it's God talking to you. So it's really cool. I got here's this is a really funny one. So I got asked to do this talk at a Southern Baptist outdoor ministry deal in wherever Southern Baptist deal is in North Carolina. And I get this message on my answering machine, and he said, I want to talk to you about coming and speaking to us, a bunch of ministers. And I went, oh, I'm listening to this, and I go, wait a minute, I'm a fisherman. I don't speak to preachers. I talk to fishermen, but no, this preachers talk to us. So I didn't call him back. Well, I'm on an airplane, and here, lo and behold, they bumped me up to first class. And I'm like, wow, this is nice. I'm in first class. And the guy sitting next to me, I go, well, hey, how are you doing? What do you do? And he goes, oh, I start ministries all over the world. And I went, well, let me ask you a question. So I asked him this question. I said, what do you think about this? I got this message on my answer machine. Oh, you need to do this. You need to do this. Absolutely, you need to do this. And I'm like, so I still do that. Well, guess what? I didn't go call him back. It happened again, and then it happened again on the third time. I said, okay, Lord, I understand. I called him back, and it was an awesome deal. It blessed me immensely to go do that. So that's the type of thing that God does. He just puts things in place. So I mean, let's bypass all my I have great stories because Jesus is just awesome, right? And I have lots of stories about that. And but I sit back and I look at my current situation, right? So I had kidney cancer. Well, how do you everybody asks me how'd you know you had kidney cancer? And what were the symptoms? Because everybody wants to know, because if they have it, they want to know, hey, how do you find out? And I'm like, I didn't know. So here's the story. My doctor says, we really like to get your cholesterol. Now, remember, I got high cholesterol, which is why I had the heart issue and all the rest of it. So he says, I really like to get your cholesterol down a little more, so we're going to change you from this drug to this drug. I said, okay, we'll try it. And we did. and everything's going along good. He said, "Oh yeah, that's your cholesterol's coming down, but your creatinine level is gone way up here. It shouldn't be, and so we it shouldn't be the drug. So let's just look. Let's see what's going on. See if there's something creating that. And so they do a scan. So here it is, just accidental. We happen to be going along. Life is normal, and there it is. So they do the scan and they see this little spot on my kidney and they, don't worry about it, right? And so then they end up checking finding out that the drug was causing it because they took me off the drug. And they go, okay, but here's this spot that they found, and they kind of measured it. And they said, we probably need to check that because it's like 90-something% of these are cancer. So they found it in an accidental scan because they did some drug deal, right? Some deal where they changed my medication that I take. And so you sit back and you go, yeah, that's coincidence, that's accidental. But when you look at life and you look at all the things that go on daily and all the stuff that has happened, I refuse to believe in coincidence anymore. All I know is that I know who's in charge. And so who's in charge goes, hey, if we do this, they're going to find this and they're going to take it. And guess what? You get to talk on Fisherman Facebook page and you get to share your story. And so, I look at this and I go, that's how awesome Jesus is. And in this day and time, it's the biggest thing that has changed in our world is how they have tried and have basically taken Jesus out of everything. I mean everything. So I don't care what it is, they don't want it. And what's really amazing, and it says it in the Bible, it says Jesus did not come to condemn, he came to bring to bless you, bring everlasting life. Anyway, he's not a condemner. He's not one that says no, don't do. No. You have all the rules in the Bible. I mean, you got it. This is what you should do. But he pretty much put two of them in there. It's love your brother, love God above everything else, and love your brother like you love, love God. And the same thing, just love. And that's what the Bible is. It's about love, and it's not to condemn, not to condemn somebody to hell or anything like that. It's to bless them. And so I just sit back and go, there's nothing greater than to have Jesus in your life. And fortunately, I met a guy back in I think I met him probably in about 87, 86, 87, somewhere in that deal before, before I ever got saved, that he was out on the tour, and that's Terry Chupp. And so, blessed me and saved me, and yes, and my whole family's saved, so that's really cool. And then I get to share that with other people, and that's really cool. So it's special. I went and talked at a big beast feast in Texas this year. An amazing thing, had thousands of people there, and to sit back and see, because the pastor calls me, the preacher calls me or texts me and goes, praying for you, man, and let me tell you, so and so just came in, got baptized, and he accepted Christ that night. And so when you hear that and you know what God has done and blessed somebody else, that's the ultimate. So so I'm very thankful for Terry. I'm very most thankful for Jesus Christ, and that's really, like I said, the greatest thing you can do. And I don't care, especially in this day and time, because I don't think anybody questions. It says absolutely nobody knows the day or time when Jesus is coming back, but he's coming back. But if you read the Bible, it tells you all the things that are going to go on, right? This is going to happen. This is going to happen. And guess what? It's all going on right now. There's Wilson. Man, I haven't seen you in a long time, man. I get all these guys on here. This is cool. Anyway, so if you're looking at, and you read your Bible, and you see all this stuff that's going on, then you kind of feel like it's possible. Now remember, for them, for Jesus, a day can be 1,000 years. You don't know, okay, but it's still getting close. And so my thing is, yeah, don't wait. If you have an opportunity, and there's an opportunity for you to accept Jesus Christ, do it. Simple prayer, do it. And it's just got to confess that you're a sinner and say, Lord, I want you to take control, and I want you to lead me, and I turn from my sin and accept your death on the cross, and your resurrection as payment for my sin, and you do that, and you put Jesus in your heart. It's eternity, and nobody can take that away from you. That's between you and Jesus Christ. So it's a simple prayer. Do it. I highly recommend. And anyway, so I'm going to go here real quick, and I'm going to go back and see some of these questions. I had a question back here real slow. And what's the focus group you keep referring to? That's Fellowship of Christian Anglers, I think is what it was. Because it wasn't FOCUS, FOCA. Anyway, I think it was AS, Anglers Society. Anyway, Terry could probably log in on that too, because he ran that thing for a long time. And yeah, Mike goes, MLF has me on the edge of the seat the entire time. It's unbelievable how good that is. It really is. And and I don't mean any disrespect to anybody or any tour or whatever. Bass paved the way for all of us to do this, and Ray Scott, amazing individual. But we knew there was a better way to do this, and that's why we pitched it to him. I should say Boyd pitched it to Bass, and got shot down. But the bottom line is, that the point is that it's a much better product, and it's a much tougher one, because it's not just 5 fish. We used to fish, I used to fish a 15 fish limit, and then they cut us to 10, and then I think they cut us to 7, and they went from 7 to 5, and every time you bring that limit down and make it smaller, then you add a big fish. You catch a big fish, you do really good. You don't catch that big fish, and you're kind of in the pack, right? And so this takes that away from that, because you're catching, weighing, and releasing them right there in the water. So the fish is much healthier, much better off. No weigh-ins. Everybody's catching them, and there's no limit. So you don't have a limit that says, hey, I got to quit, or I've caught all I can catch. So anyway, that's MLF. It's really good. Love that format. Danny East goes, and I'd say Danny's right here. He goes, if you could fish 5 tournaments in a row in Florida, which lakes and which months? Woo! 5 tournaments in a row. Well, I would probably say, Okeechobee in December, maybe. January, right in that time frame. It's amazing. I'd just follow the next month and go to the Kissimmee chain, and probably the next month the Harris chain, and then I might even see, now I'd love to have 2 in a row, not even on months, but like 2 in January, because St. John's is ridiculous in January at times. Lake George just gets just sick how good it can be. And that's our main bodies of water. We have Okeechobee, we have Harris Chain, we have Kissimmee Chain, and we have St. John's River. And so then you have some little, smaller lakes, and I don't know that they're big enough to have a major tournament. With Bass Pro Tour, there's only 40 guys out fishing, so you could probably have one in at any one time. 40 guys are on the body of water, so you could have it in a lot of different places, and so that's a distinct possibility to be able to do that. All right, so I'm zipping on down here. Who is on the pro that everyone wants to beat fishing? Wow, I'm going to tell you, the guy. We have some incredible anglers. I was listening to the live broadcast today, the Bass Pro Tour, and there's like 3 or 4 of them that have made a check in like every or made the knockout round, which is coming up tomorrow, made it in 13 of 14 events. One guy I think has got them in all of them. But it's how amazing is that? But you're looking at the Jacob Wheelers and those guys that are just incredible. I mean, just incredible anglers, incredible sticks. And he's probably about the best there is right now. Kevin's amazing. He's out there. Ayler. I mean, they just keep coming, and it's yeah. Justin Atkins. I mean, we got all the greats from FLW and Bass. I mean, and are all together in the major league, and so yeah, it's the way I look at it. When I was younger, it was always like, yeah, I'm just work real hard and go fishing. Now, I just try to make a check and go on if I can make one. I made them. The first tournament was at Eufaula, and I didn't do very good. But the next two, I made checks, Okeechobee and Lake Fork in Texas. And I'm like, I made the knockout round, was feeling good, and then COVID hit and just took us out. And so this was the first tournament back, and I did not do what I'd like to have done and made another one. So, I'm at 50% now, 2 out of 4, and that's kind of my normal about where I'm at, career wise. So I look forward to getting to Chickamauga, hopefully making one there, and then the next Bass Pro Tour and working hard. So I don't have this vision of going out and trying to beat somebody. My vision is to go out there and figure out the fish. And when you figure them out, it's wonderful. I mean, when and that's like at Texas, and Okeechobee, that, hey man, if I'm doing this, I'm going to get the bites and I'm going to get the deal. And Okeechobee was flipping for me and pitching and and so. Here, Blake goes right here. We'll be having a Focus Fellowship of Christian Angler Society meeting at the Super Tournaments. Great, and so when getting back to that, I know what I was doing, and so when you figure out the fish and you dial in and you're really going at it, it's not about beating somebody. It's about beating the fish and catching them and catching them and catching them. I want to catch the next one. I want to catch the next one. I ought to be right here and make that pitch, make the right hook set, get him, and catch him. And then you feel good. And if you do everything right and you beat everybody, it's amazing. If you beat 5 of them, that's good. If you beat 3/4 of the field, it's all relative. It's that you have to execute right. So day one at Toho, I executed terrible. I mean, when I say terrible, I'm looking for schoolers. So when I'm throwing a topwater bait, Sexy Dog, throwing a Strike King Sexy Dog, and I'm looking for busts. So I'm not paying attention to my bait, and I hear a slight bloof, and I look back and my bait floats up, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Usually they get hooked. I mean, this is TK310s, Trocar trebles that are so sharp that they just bite them, they get hooked. And yet they were just messing with it, and I missed fish after fish after fish. Some of them blew a big hole, some of them didn't. Like you'd hook them, and then you'd get them part way to the boat, and they come unhooked, and you're like, really? I didn't lose any in the practice, none. In fact, that's been my bait that I've been fishing all off time. Before I had surgery. After I had surgery, you don't have to set the hook hard. You throw it out there, boom, they eat it, and you kind of pull back, and you're good. And so anyway, it's one of these things. I don't lose any, and then all of a sudden, it's every fish is gone, and then you lose them on this and that, and anyway, so. One of those deals. Dick, by the way, no chemotherapy. They took out, so the cool thing about kidney cancer is that they took out a piece of the kidney and they got all the cancer. So it's gone. So right now I'm cancer free that we know about. But the bottom line is they will come back in 3 months and I'll have a scan and they'll check me. And then it's another 3 months, and then it's 6 months, and then it's 6 months for a little bit, and then it comes to a year. And so they just keep monitoring you. But right now, no chemo, no radiation, no nothing. And we still praying heavily for Aaron. He's going through a tough time. So always remember, keep Aaron in our prayers. He said, Chuck says here, what's my favorite bait? I don't know that I have one. I can tell you I love fishing topwater. I mean, that's sexy dog, a sexy frog. If I'm throwing a topwater bait, it's fun because you're working a bait, and then you get that explosion, that blow up on it, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's really really cool. So this is my story too. So the second day, which was yesterday, I'm fishing and I'm around my schooling and I'm pitching through some heads of hydrilla, and I see this splash, and it just didn't look like a bass splash. It was kind of a slash, like a garfish would slap at something. And I said, that kind of looked like a garfish, but I got my topwater bait right there. Well, all of a sudden a bluegill, and I mean a big and bigger than my hand, come blasting out of the water, hits the thing, shoots off again, gets knocked up. Well, by that time I've engaged my reel. I made a stellar cast. I mean, like right there. This bluegill, now you could tell he quit flopping. He was in the air and he's like stunned, and he comes down and he hits. My bait hits at almost exactly the same time, probably 8 to 10 inches behind him, right? I jerk it once, the fish has got the bluegill. Bluegill's gone, and my bait's sitting there, and I'm like, really? And this is a big bass, and I'm like, really? That's my luck? Like, 1/4 of a second too late. So anyway, but isn't that awesome? I mean, just watch a big old giant bass eat something like that. And so, yeah, do I have favorite baits? I mean, I love my thunder crickets. I love, the bladed jigs. I love swim jigs. I really don't, but topwater to me is, man, I love. If I can do that, I'm a happy man. So I get another one here that says, how do I like the new 2-pound scoreable bass? I do like it. At Florida, it was really, really tough because Florida is traditionally is a small fish. It's 1.5, 1 3/4, 115, 114, stuff like that. And then a 7-pounder or a 6, like that big one that ate there. So, it's one of those things where I do like it. I think it really makes you work, to do that 2-pound scoreable. So I am in favor of it. I mean, and so I like it. It's good. Got no problem. Just one of those deals. So with MLF, do you stay with a bite or try to trade up to bigger fish? If you're getting scoreables, since we went to the 2-pound minimum, those scoreable fish are very special because it's so easy to catch. And I shouldn't say it's easy, it's never easy. It seems like you catch more of those pound 8, pound 7, pound 4, pound 7, that deal. So, when you get a 2, you go, yes, I got a 2. And so, and you could see it in every one of the guys there that was fishing today, every one of them. So do you try to trade up? See, we get to weigh every fish, so there's no trading. There's no, like, I take this one out of the live well, let him go and put this one in. We don't do that. In fact, we don't even use our live wells. We let them go right then. But you have a scoreboard that you get the total weight of your fish. So if that fish weighed 2.5, I get 2.5 pounds, I let it go. The next fish, I have no limit. So every single fish counts, which means there's no let up. It means there's no time when you can go, I've got this, I've got it in the bag. Now, Skeet got to, congratulations to Skeet, because he caught so many, he could turn around and go, hey, this, I've whacked them and I'm good. So anyway, so no, we don't really try to trade up. We do try to do things to get bigger fish at times, throw a bigger bait, throw a big jig or something like that, or go flipping and know that you're probably not going to get as many bites, but they're probably going to be the right bite. So so here it is. Are there situations where casting parallel to the bank is more efficient than casting perpendicular? Absolutely. In fact, this situation we were just in, we're fishing grass lines, like Kissimmee grass, where it's sticking out of the water, and you can go right down the edges and do that. I was fishing a line of cabbage, so it's a kind of a green, leafy cabbage-looking plant, and that's what it's called. It's called cabbage. That's floating on top, and it's banked up on one side, and I'm throwing my topwater right down the edge of it. So I am up against it, and I'd flip when it was deep, and then I would throw that top water when I'd know that it was a little bit shallower out in front. And I caught some really nice fish doing that, especially in practice. In the tournament, I ended up catching. Well, here's you want to know how I don't usually admit my stupidity, but I am stupid, so I do admit it. But so, in fact, hey, there's my grandson watching. Bryce Grigsby is watching. There we go. Anyway, and Jackie's in there. That's Jack Wingate's daughter. Jack Wingate, legend, owned Wingate's Lunker Lodge. Tremendous place. I have a lot of great memories from down there. My first tournament was on out of Lake Seminole. So anyway, I get to look at that, but I'll get back to this. So casting perpendicular and parallel. So bringing it right down the edge, they would come out of that mat, that cabbage, and grab the bait. And so yes, there are plenty of times where you want to do that. Seawalls, anytime that you have an edge like that, then it's a lot more efficient to keep it there, right next to the cover that you got. So how long have I had my mustache? I think I might have been 16 or 17, and it's been there. I shaved it off my senior year, and it was gone for a few months before it grew back. But yeah, long time. I'm an old guy. It's a long time. Anyway, oh, I love this. So John goes, "What a joy it was to be your official at Conroe and Table Rock." Yeah, that was some fun. And I see Rich is on here. He makes rods, fishing rods. Great guy. I'm looking at this. And Chris, I interviewed Jack once. He said some idiot showed up at our tournament with a 35 horsepower. He said he thought, I'm trying to get this to see some, thought he would kill somebody with a 35 horse. That's funny. Anyway, Chris is well-spoken Menards. If you don't know Chris Wells, he is our man. And so anyway, he delivered a great message at our tournament, and I did not hear his message. I assume you delivered one today, maybe yesterday. I don't know, because BASS is going on at the same time at Lake, is it Eufaula, I believe. So he's our bass chaplain for both tours. So it's really good, man. I tell you, there's nothing better. First off, to be a part of community of Jesus Christ. That's the big thing. That family is huge, and it's important. But it's great to have the support of somebody that can help you if you need help. If you have questions about, hey, should I or shouldn't I? Hey, I'm struggling with this. Hey, what can I do here? The Bible, Bible is your ultimate source, but somebody like Chris is such a major help. Same thing with Terry. When Terry was on tour with us for a long time, and he was one of those guys that could always help you in any situation, and that's really special. So, how do young anglers attract sponsors before they become great fishermen? That's probably the hardest thing. The greatest thing about our sport, and I shouldn't say greatest, but one of the coolest things about it, when I started, it was only, you just had, you did have Operation Bass, which was the Red Band Tournament Trail back then, and you had bass, and that's pretty much all you had. You had a couple local tournaments here and there. But now we have junior angler clubs, you have high school fishing clubs, lots of them, lots and lots and lots. And then they graduate from high school and they get scholarships to college fishing. So some of them give them full scholarships, some of them give them part scholarships. But imagine that, getting a scholarship, go fishing and get your college education. To me, that's exceptional. So what you have now is, because there's so many college teams. In fact, I took on a job of helping coach a college team just north of us here in out of Lake City, and so being a part of that is, there's like 3 or 4 of us that are heading that up, and each one of us have a little bit different duties as coaches. But what's really cool is there are so many college teams now, and they all are working towards sponsorship. So the sponsors are getting hammered by these all over. So it really is a little bit harder to get sponsorship than it was in my day because there's so many more. And that's it's a good thing in the sense that the sport's progressing. It's a little tougher thing to if you're trying to make it as a young angler. So anyway, so that's kind of the deal. You just have to work hard. I'm gonna tell you what I did. I would tell a sponsor, anybody that I like their products and I use their products, and I'd say, listen, I love your product. I would like to be associated with you. I'd like to work for you. Let me just work for you for a year and show you what I do. And if you like what I'm doing, I would like, to get paid at some point. And so I literally would work for companies for free. And, they might give me a little bit of product or give me a percentage off or whatever. And then I'd work for them. And you do articles. You'd get an outdoor rider, you catching fish, and you take him fishing, and you get it in print, or you win a tournament on their baits or their lures or their line, and you get that all in print, and then you send it to them, and then they would, go, hey man, this guy's really, really working for us, and so let's put him on staff. Let's put him on a sponsorship deal. So that's kind of what I did in the days of getting it. So it wasn't like I fish, so give me. It was more, let me show you what I can do. And so that's kind of the deal. And that's what I think is still probably important to do something. It's not about what, it's kind of like, it's not about what you're doing in fishing. It's what can you do for that business. If you're just, using the baits or getting baits free or whatever, and you're not selling baits for them, not making a dent in the bottom line, then it's probably not a very good situation for the manufacturer to help you out. In other words, you need to be helping them too. So not just them helping you, you have to help them, which means generating sales. So how old were you when you accepted Jesus as your Savior? I got to figure that out because it was 1990. I was born in 56. So that is going to bring me up to math. I was 30? Is that about? Come on, who's good with math? Do that. Somebody's got to do that. Anyway, you figure it out. So I was born in 56 and accepted in 1990. So that would be like 34 years old. That sounds right for me. Anyway, close in there. What do you think? Did I do my math right? Anyway, y'all will double check that. And Dick says, which lake do you like better, Rayburn or Toledo Bend? Man, that's tough. I'm going to say Rayburn. And there we go. I get it from fishermen themselves. 34. I was 34 when I accepted Jesus Christ. So yeah, I think Rayburn. I won 3 BASSs on Rayburn. And so that was that's a special, always going to be a special lake for me. And Toledo's a fun lake. I think it's much more varied. In other words, you got so much more ledge fishing and different stuff at Toledo, where the one in Rayburn is just got a lot of shallow and a lot of good stuff. Got the grass edges. You still have all the ditches and the ledges, but that shallow fishing at Rayburn can be spectacular. But both of them are good. So I'm looking over here. Always fun watching on the water. I hope I didn't miss any questions. If you have a question and I didn't answer it, you can type it in now. And other than that, that's I'm kind of running out of cool stuff to talk about. But what do you think of Lake Havasu? Wow, we got to fish that a few years ago. Incredible lake. So when we fished it, and this is, and Terry remembers this. So Terry used to give us a tape. Now you remember that because, boy, back in the old days, a tape. We had 8 tracks. Everybody ever remember an 8-track, big old boxy looking thing like that. And well, this was a cassette tape. And it was Hank Parker's testimony, and I stuffed it in my suitcase, and we went to Havasu, and it was brutal. I'm telling you, I think it may have taken less than 6 pounds, or right around 6 pounds, to make a check. Okay, that's 3 days. And I think I missed it by just a bit. I may have made one, but I think I just missed it by just a bit. And we're driving home, and my dad's in the truck with me, traveled with me, and we got everybody running. We got CBs, and we talk. It got late, the talk got old, and so I'm sitting there. My dad went to sleep, and I said, I got that tape, and I hit the recline on my chair and felt around, and there it was, right there on top of my suitcase, right behind the seat. That's the way God works. He just puts things right there. I had no idea. I was even remembered that tape was there, but I plugged the tape in and listened to Hank Parker's testimony. I didn't even know what a testimonial was, but a testimony. And so Lake Havasu was instrumental. Terry got the tape from Hank, and it was coming out of Lake Havasu. Well, Havasu was that bad back then. Havasu now is amazing. It's big fish, lots of them. Beautiful clean water. It is one of those lakes. If you get an opportunity to fish it, you need to go. If your tour's having one there, or you're just yep, that's probably true. There goes Chuck going. Aaron Martin's won that Havasu tournament. He won the one that we fished recently, the big one, and he mashed them. And what a great win that was. So yeah, I can tell you that Havasu's amazing. I had another one ask me about my thumbs. They're still terrible, and that I'm gonna probably end up having surgery on that. Eddie says, "What's your favorite Tennessee lake?" And I don't know that I have one that's like jumping out, but I'm gonna say Chickamauga. I had a really good tournament there a few years back, and I really like it. So we're a little late for what I like to do. I like going there in the springtime when you can look at them, or maybe just after the springtime post spawn. This will be way after post spawn, so there'll be a lot of ledge fish, a lot of drop offs, and so that's going to be fun. But I'm looking forward to that. Let's see what else I got. Who do you think some of the rising stars of the sport? Man, do we have some great ones. I mean, Dustin Cannell. I mean, it just goes on and on and on of these young guys that, come out of college. They're high school fishermen. Then they go to college, and they're fishing all the time. They get their education. They come out of college, and they go in and they start just mashing you on tour. So I think we have a tremendous group of youngsters that just keep coming out and keep putting the pressure on them. I'm one of the old guys. I'm proud to still be out there and still make an occasional check and all that kind of stuff. I never was as good as guys like Rick Clunn or Denny Brower. Those guys were amazing. Larry Nixon, they were just like the best of the best. I was okay. I caught fish and did good and won a lot of tournaments and all, but those guys are exceptional. And when you see Rick Clunn still doing it 72-ish, I believe, 71, 72-ish, I just sit back and go, that's amazing. I hope I lived to 72. So anyway, but anyway, I hope I'm actually going for 74, because then I'll be married to my wife for 50 years. So that's what I'm looking forward to. Anyway, what does fun fishing look like when you're not in your tournament mode? All right, here's what it is. And I just finished spooling up a reel. I just put 50-pound Seagar thread lock on a reel, and I'm going snapper fishing, red snapper in the morning, and I'm going to go probably catch a few grouper, maybe a cobia, we don't know. But so my fun fishing is taking grandson, who was listening to this, Bryce, and Bryce will go, and we'll go snook fishing, we'll go red fishing, but we go fishing, and we go bass fishing. Trust me, we go bass fishing too. So fun fishing, and that's what happens as you get older and you become a grandfather. It's not about what you do. In other words, I used to bow hunt, and my Matthews and me went a lot of places and did a lot of bow hunting, and I don't get to do that anymore, and I'm okay with that because I get to hunt, and instead of dragging my Matthews bow and go hunting, I now drag my grandson, and he brings a rifle, and we go hunting. Or he got a shotgun, and we go duck hunting because my son loves it. So a lot of what I experience now is sharing what I've learned, and what some of the special times I've had is sharing them with the next generation, with my grandson. And I have two granddaughters. One's about, not quite, she'll be 2 in September, and another one that's 3. She'll be actually 4 in February, so she turned 3. And so that'll be the next step, is taking them and teaching them about fishing and hunting and the outdoors, and the respect that you have for all that. So that's something we don't ever want to lose. And so just saying that, yeah, so that's what my fun fishing looks like right now. So it's still wonderful. I mean, it's absolutely wonderful. I can tell you, I feel so blessed to not only to, be a part of the Christian family, but to make a living fishing. You can't be more blessed than that. To go doing something you truly love and make a living doing it, it's just nothing better. And so I've been blessed beyond belief, and like most people, don't deserve it, and yet He has blessed me greatly. And I will always tell you how awesome Jesus Christ is, because He is. And I can also tell you that here's 100% truth. If you've never experienced Christ personally, here's the truth. The truth is He is alive. He's not only alive, He's here with us right now on this call. He's listening. He's there. He's a part of it. He's a part of you. He is alive. And the reason I know that is because He has affected me. He's touched me personally so many times where I know it's Him touching me, sending the little old man to the boat at that tournament that saved me in the heart issue, changing medications, putting a person on an airplane next to me, all the things that happen, prayers being answered, little cool stuff. I mean, I didn't even get to tell you this one. That's just one of the ones that I just love. But my son hunting, and he's up in a stand, and I'm down in a stand next. 70. I'm 100 yards from him, but I'm 70 yards from a crossing. I got my buddy Doug Odom with me. He's got a video camera. He's going to get me shooting one with my bow, and he's going to take me. Well, my son's in the deal, and we're texting back and forth, and he says, 3 does heading your way. And I was hoping to get a doe because I like burgers, and I like venison burgers a lot. So I'm like, oh, yeah, and I'm getting ready, and my arrow's ready, and I'm sitting there all looking, and I'm waiting. I don't see anything. And next thing, my phone buzzes, and you ease your hand ever so slowly down there and look at the text. He goes, 2 more. And I went, oh yeah, they're heading my way. So I'm all excited going, I'm getting ready to shoot a doe. And all of a sudden I hear this smack, and I turn around, and here is this big old buck laid out at the crossing, and my son has just shot him. And anyway, I run down there and look it up, and I'm like, come on, Joe, you guys see it? I get down there. He actually spined it, but it looked quicker than William Tell. He one more, another arrow, and that one hearted it, and it was done. So it was amazing how fast he could shoot an arrow and shoot it accurately. And so I go down there, see this deer, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a great deer for South Carolina, big old buck, almost a 120. I think it was a 117 or 118. Anyway, so for his first rack buck, it was incredible. So, especially with the bow. And so I run to the tree, and he's not come down the tree yet. He's just kind of working his way down. I said, man, you come on down. You got to see this. He said, Dad, I got to tell you something. And I said, no, tell me later. You got to come down here and look at this. I'm just all excited, which I get. And he says, Dad, stop. And I go, what? He says, I got to tell you this. He said, those deer were heading your way, and I've been hunting for, how many years, and I never see a rack buck. He said, I bowed my head, and I said, Lord, just let me see a rack buck. He said, I opened my eyes and looked up, and there he was. So you tell me that we don't serve an incredible God that does things like that for a young man and says, I'm real. So all these stories, no fudging, no embellishments, no nothing. God is awesome. And Jesus Christ is our connection straight to God. Accept Jesus Christ, and that your life will never be the same. It's the best thing to ever happen to you. Anyway, thank you very much, guys. I don't know. I haven't looked at timing or how much. I don't know anything about. I really didn't get much directions to come share, and I'm like, I love talking, and I especially love talking about Jesus Christ. And so I don't know, Danny, am I supposed to go, or did I go too short or too long? I don't know. But one thing I can tell you is I love Jesus, and I appreciate y'all. I love fishing. I love my family. I love Jesus. Love Terry Chup, man. He's there, and there's Rick comes in, dude. It's good to see you. Now, Rick Pierce, owner of Bass Cat, and good man. So I'm on the very end there, Rick, but I appreciate you coming in, and I love all you guys. So I wish you a blessed evening, a blessed week, and thanks to Fisherman because it's a great tour, man. They've just done great things for many years and shared the gospel and the truth, and that's the deal, is the truth, and the truth is that Jesus is incredible, God is amazing, and the most important thing, He loves you. He loves you no matter what. And that's what's special. And once you figure that out and you accept Him, man, it's the best. Simply the best. So thank you guys, and y'all have a blessed evening and a blessed rest of the week. So appreciate it, and I will. I'll be. You can check me just about any time on Shaw Grigsby fan page and Shaw Grigsby Facebook page and Shaw Grigsby on everything. And so appreciate you guys. And Desiree, it's great to see you on here too. And so appreciate all you guys, and the best to all y'all. So thank you, and good night. God bless.